he's been patiently waiting here on our set, but we've got our mayor here on the show today for a mayor's moment. I sometimes forget that we have this nice little bumper there for our mayor. But how you doing this morning? We got City of Frankfort Mayor Layne Wilkerson joining us.
Hey.
I'm doing well. It's great to be here, and I do appreciate that bumper. That's a nice production, cable 10 quality.
Absolutely.
We're lucky to have the abilities that you all have here in Frankfort.
That's right.
Well, first of all, we've been talking about concerts.
Yes.
And going to concerts. There's a big one coming up.
Besides the Little River Band.
The Little River Band.
Yeah, I think arguably the biggest concert in the tri-state region tonight and tomorrow night is the Taylor Swift show in Cincinnati. Ooh. I don't know if we'll have much impact here in Frankfort, but that region will. I read a report that it'll generate approximately $48 million in I guess production for the local economy.
Really?
Yes, it's just a big undertaking.
People will come from all over. I mean, you've already been. You went to Nashville, right?
I went to a Nashville show, the Rain show.
The Rain show,
that's
right?
Nice.
That's special.
Oh, and I did see her. Allegedly, she was in Frankfurt. Though.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, she wanted to come see the state capitol. So
of course.
That is her, and she said she really enjoyed Frankfurt and hopes to come back soon.
Oh, good. Oh, good. So are you and the girls, are y'all going to make it over to Cincinnati?
We have one of our daughters is going tonight. Okay. One of our daughters went to the Nashville show, and then one, unfortunately, is out of town and can't make it. But I'm sure I hope that my daughter that does go, that her favorite song will be played tonight, because she plays a special song at each show.
Okay.
And that's the only time she'll play it on the tour.
On the tour. Okay. Wow. I'm learning these things.
Well, 3 teenage daughters. That's
I've got one coming up. I've got to catch up.
Yeah, because she does the same show, but then there's a couple of slots every night, right, where there's like a special song.
Little Easter eggs that keep the fan engagement going. She's a master marketer, really.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Business person.
But that Little River Band show, that does seem exciting too.
I'm very excited.
And tell me what they close with.
Okay,
please.
I will. Because really, if you go back and listen to the Little River Band, and if you're our age, it'll be like reminiscing.
Yes, it will.
Which is one of their songs. It's great. They have great songs, great music, and laid back, and love it. Looking forward to it.
Yacht rock. That's yacht rock.
Ooh, I do love yacht rock.
Yacht rock.
I don't know that I can name. I don't think I can name a Little River Band song right off the top. I mean,
Lady?
I bet if I heard it, I would.
Let me take a look at you now.
Lonesome Loser, Cool Change.
Yeah.
That's about it for me.
Time for.
Well, hang on. Facebook might shut down our stream if we get too far into it. It's pitch perfect. So.
That's right. It's right on it. But yeah, looking forward to it. As I'm sure a lot of people are looking forward to Taylor Swift.
Yeah. Well, what else you want to chat with us here today?
Not only is it the 4th of July weekend, which is a big deal, of course, nationwide and here in Frankfort as well, it's also the end of a quarter, end of a fiscal year. And as the City of Frankfort, it's the City of Frankfort's fiscal year we end today. So we're excited that we're moving into the 2024 fiscal year in good shape, balanced budget, very little debt, and also more in reserves than is required. So we're in pretty good shape and ready to move forward on some other projects. But part of that is because of the announcement a couple of weeks ago of the payment in lieu of tax increase that we are receiving from the Commonwealth of Kentucky. For those of listeners that don't know, the state pays the City of Frankfort what they call a special contribution every year because of the fact that we don't receive property taxes on a number of our prime real estate properties downtown. And but we still have to maintain police and fire and public safety, emergency management services for those buildings and for the employees of state government. So about 50 years ago almost, the Commonwealth of Kentucky and our then Representative Hank Hancock and Governor Julian Carroll came up with a solution that the state would pay the City of Frankfort an annual payment And fortunately, it hasn't increased every year since then. It's only increased one time.
I was going to say, only once, I
It
believe.
hasn't kept up with inflation. So a couple of years ago, it was one of our priorities as a commission was to get that amount increased and to reflect the changing values in properties, the increased needs of state government.
Sure.
And so the governor announced a couple of weeks ago that they are increasing that over fourfold. So it's a big help for the city of Frankfort. And it allows us to divert resources to other needs that we have.
Can I just ask a question that may be totally off base or whatever? So how does this affect, or does it affect the Frankfort Independent Schools at all? Because I know that they feel slighted as well.
Right. It won't on this payment will go directly to the city of Frankfort, but I know that is something that the city schools has advocated for in the past.
Sure,
so
yeah.
I think that's still out there.
Let's still do it.
It's still. But we do have a receptive governor who has children in the city schools, so maybe that's something we can look at.
That's right. So that was big news. I mean, that's huge. But there's some other things that have been going on in Frankfort. We are maybe getting a new city manager, or we have new interim city managers. Let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, Laura Hegg resigned effective June 23rd, and we do appreciate her service to the city of Frankfort. She brought a global perspective, but also was from Frankfort, so that was a unique combination. And she led us well for almost 2 years through some major projects and that we got off the ground. Was helpful when we were actually advocating for this payment in lieu of tax increase, and helped us get on firmer footing going into 2024. And we are in the process now. Well, we have two co-interim city managers, Jason Monroe, our fire chief, and Penny Peevler, who's up to this point also been our strategic initiatives coordinator. So we feel like we're in good hands. We're still continuing on. The department heads still know what to do, and nothing's changing in terms of city operations. But we are going to look at the job description again, and then in July likely consider putting it back out there in terms of advertising for the position. So I expect, I don't know what the time frame will be, but we'll probably start the interview here in the next couple of months.
Okay. Well, we saw at the last meeting you all had, the discussion about whether that was going to happen or not, whether to go ahead and start to try to fill it or not because of the possibility of changing our form of government. So where are we on that?
Well, that is also, that's something we are considering, and it's not up to the city commission to change our form of government. That is a citywide vote that has to be on the ballot, a referendum essentially by the citizens of Frankfort. So but we can pass a resolution, the city commission can, to put that on the ballot, and then let the voters decide whether or not city manager form of government is what they want to continue with, or change back to a mayor council form, which we've been city commission for, I think, 60, 70 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a while. And a lot of cities in the state do use that form of government, but most don't. And most have a city commission or a mayor council form of government. So it's something that we are considering, but I am mindful that if we put it on the ballot, we need to make sure that we have enough public input and forums.
There has to be an education process.
For sure.
Yeah.
And I want people to understand, if we vote to put it on the ballot, that doesn't necessarily mean that we may be in favor of that, a mayor council form of government, but we really do want the public to decide this, and we want this to be an objective discussion, and we'll bring in advocates for the city manager form and the mayor council. But recent history hasn't been, we've had a lot of turnover in the city manager position, and that's why it's being brought up now.
So just the discussion itself and the possibility of it being on the ballot is the city commission supporting that it should be explored and that the public should have the opportunity to discuss it.
We are hearing it from members of the community that they would like us to explore that, and so it is an opportunity for us to let people decide.
Yeah, and I think it was important what you said about education as well, because some people might think that they would like that, and then as more information comes out and you're discussing it and what that actually entails, they might be like, hang on.
Yeah,
but
it I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, but I think
what does that mean?
But as long as the conversation happens, I think that's where people become more aware.
It's so important for sure. All right. Well, there's other stuff happening too. So.
Other things happening. Well, also the beginning next week, free trash pickup. But we are continuing. We never did suspend, of course, regular trash or recycling.
Right.
We temporarily suspended bulk trash and yard waste pickup. Next week, that goes back into effect where we're going to continue on with the free service of yard waste and bulk trash pickup. We do ask that the public call in advance to let us know that they'd like us to pick up, and that number is 352-2088. And let our staff know that you're setting things out so we can prepare in advance before people go out on their route. So that's going to start again next week. Also, I got news yesterday that I know I get a lot of questions about Home Street and the repaving. And of course, the city is embarking on a study. We've hired Stantec Engineering to do a redesign of Home Street, we're doing a planning study right now. But once we get that plan back, we can then start to look for the funding to actually do the work. Similar to the 2nd Street redesign and rebuild, essentially. We did a plan first, and then we went back and found grant money to do the rest. That's what's going to happen on Home Street, we hope, if we get the funding. But in the meantime, because we don't know when that funding will take place, the state, I think, put out the bid to do at least a basic repaving of the Home Street area, because I know it's bumpy there. I drive it quite frequently, and you want to put a lid on your coffee when you're driving through there. But that is, we hope, late summer we might to see work on that.
Okay.
So that's exciting.
It just seems like there's so much opportunity down that corridor for things to happen, and I guess it's just a matter of going out and really working to find some funding to do that.
Right. That's it. We are obviously we want to try to find out every resource we can to help the city of Frankfort, both from the state and the federal level. And of course, we recognize we have to use our own tax money every once in a while. We want to pay our fair share, but if it's out there, I want to make sure we're getting it. Somebody's going to ask for it.
Right.
And you're right, Home Street, it's a major thoroughfare into the city of Frankfort. There are a lot of people who map coming into Frankfort, coming from the north, Cincinnati. That's going to bring them down 127 and through Home Street. And from a practical standpoint, it's not the safest street for pedestrians, for businesses to get in and out of there. So it's time for a redo.
Okay. Can we be looking forward to any kind of riverfront development anytime soon?
We're working on that as well. that is, I think that is one of the most impactful things as a mayor that we could do is work on our riverfront, riverwalk. We have studies going on right now, and I know people say, "Oh, great, another study," but we have to do some. We have to do some testing of the riverbank and see what's possible where. Because some of it we've seen, some of it has been unstable. And look at Riverview Park. You look at over by Blanton's Landing. Yeah. We have to make sure it's shored up, and some of this might be a major investment. Again, going back to the federal government, this is maybe a major restabilization of the bank, but we are working on at least. I like to think of the tourism corridor between Buffalo Trace and downtown.
Oh yeah.
That is something that we're very interested in, so stay tuned.
Definitely. Maybe you could put a barcade in there.
We're working. I heard that somebody was thinking of a barcade downtown. Was that just a rumor? I didn't hear that.
Maybe Kathy just willed it into existence.
Manifested it.
We need to talk offline because I don't want to spread any untrue information, but I heard a barcade was
all right.
At least somebody was thinking about it.
Okay, well, I'm there to support it, whatever I need to do.
So if I do that as a mayor, if that happens, that's a big win.
You're
right there.
on the pedestal.
That goes above the payment in lieu of taxes,
Absolutely.
Right? And bringing Taylor Swift to town.
That's right.
Well, and before we ask you there she is there.
She's back.
Last couple questions here before we ask you our question of the day today. Do you want to talk about the flock cameras? We had the police department had a couple of public meetings and forums on Thursday last week, and do you want to?
Yeah, I was able to go to one of those, and I appreciate our police chief and the department for making time, and for the flock representatives to come to Frankfort, because this is on the one hand, this is exciting technology, and as a mayor, when you're looking at decreasing our crime rates. This is proven to be effective nationwide. So we have exciting new technology. It could be a force multiplier, and that it would greatly save time from our police force when they're looking at investigating crimes. But on the other hand, I do recognize that it's a camera system, and it's taking pictures of license plates, and I can see where there would be some public concern about privacy.
Invasive.
I think, right, it's I could see where people think it might be a Big Brother situation, but I've gone to Lexington and looked at their system. I've sat down with the representatives multiple times. I feel confident that the guardrails are in place, and what the commission wants to do is create a policy to make sure that we want to have one of the stronger policies in the country related to this, and make sure that the community is comfortable with it, because we have to balance what our residents' concerns are with the practicality. Look, this is good technology. In this day and age, if you're carrying around a cell phone, you're probably being monitored already. I don't want to spread false. But really, there's a lot of data out there being collected on you now. And this is just, it takes a picture of the license plate. It cannot be used unless there's an investigation going on. And so if there's a crime in a neighborhood and we get a description of the car, then we can access that system. And then after a certain number of days, it'll be deleted.
Yeah.
And it can't be accessed again. So I feel like overall, on balance, it's a positive for the community.
Well, and that's why it's important to have the forums like we had to get that information out to people.
That's what I was going to mention that. Like,
Yeah.
would like to applaud whoever with the city who kind of helped put that on, but definitely Chief Bowman for agreeing to have a couple of those and just make people aware, and that way it's not just a thing that starts
Right.
happening and nobody
Yeah.
had any input or questions about it. So
And
it's good on everybody.
I've talked to other mayors, and they swear by it. It's been very helpful in the cities that I've talked to the mayors, and they've solved crimes. There's real world scenarios and data that shows a decrease. So.
Right.
Well,
We have two things.
we had two more things.
And then the question.
Yeah.
The first thing I want to ask, because I know it's something that was being talked about, especially by businesses downtown, is the parking situation. And because I know we started enforcing the parking rules downtown.
Yes.
So has something changed, or are there permits being allowed now, or what's happening?
Well, the permits are being allowed. I don't know how many have taken up the
Yeah.
permits, but we have seen the shift, more people using the garage, which is really, we have that garage that's there on Ann Street, that we wanted more people to use that. And really the impetus for this is to free up space for the people that are coming downtown to shop or to dine and be in and out in 2 hours. And we don't, if you own a business downtown or if you live downtown, maybe you don't need to park right out in front of your building 24/7. I'm not saying that's what happened, but it does. We want to get that traffic circulating. So we could push the more permanent people that work downtown into the garage or on the outskirts of, let's say, Wilkinson or Wapping or Lewis Street. There are several streets downtown where you don't have there is no time restriction. But we did recognize early on that on the weekends there are some events that maybe take longer than 2 hours, or maybe the tourist, Saturday and Sunday are big tourist days downtown, and we don't want to discourage the tourists from shopping or dining downtown and lingering. So we did lift that restriction. We're not enforcing on Saturday parking any longer. But I think right now it's a good mix. We've seen that die down in terms of early on, it was a change. People, of course, some people were upset about it. But really, this is something that was enforced up until before COVID.
Right.
We were enforcing it
Right.
then.
Yeah.
We're just bringing back the enforcement.
Well, I think an important way to do it maybe is to maybe focus on the positive. Do a little more information about the parking that is available, because there is a garage there, and there may be some people who don't realize that you can park in that garage.
Right.
And an advantage is that then you don't have to look for a parking place. You can just
Right.
go park there and know it.
Right? You don't have to go out and move every 2 hours
Right,
either.
exactly.
And that's what we just want to get away from that. And
Yeah.
I think people are now getting used to it. And overall, again, on balance, it's a positive for downtown.
Yeah.
And there are still plenty of free places to park without having to move your car.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of downtown, the Downtown Frankfort Summer Concert Series has come back recently, and people do have some questions, right, in our community about it might look a little different. They moved some things around based on where they did the last couple of years. It's a different stage, and so I know the city has a very nice stage that had been used for a little while, and it might want to just clarify for folks what the situation is there, why there might be something.
Well, the city
different.
of Frankfort has a big professional
Great
stage,
stage.
and paid good money for it. But I think this year the Downtown Frankfort Inc. decided not to use the stage for various reasons, but I think they just wanted to try a different look and feel and maybe have the stage on the lawn of the old Capitol like it used to be, or it used to be closer to the steps. I'm not sure they can do that any longer. But they wanted to put it back on the lawn and I guess open up the traffic flow there right on Broadway. That's my understanding.
Okay.
So the city of Frankfort did not say no to the stage.
That's right.
Yeah,
I want to be clear
right.
on that.
No, the
because
city
I'm
of Frankfort would-
seriously, y'all, come on.
happily let DFI, because we're a partner organization of DFI. We help we help in other many ways in terms of staffing the streets and cleaning up after the fact, and breaking down the stage when we were using it. But we'll see after this year if again, the stage is readily available to Downtown Frankfort Inc. And because we want to make sure that the public's used to a certain type of concert experience.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like going to the Taylor Swift show. You know what to expect. And we want to make sure we keep that same standard.
That's right. And we want to keep our musicians safe.
Yeah.
That's been nothing. But we do appreciate the clarification that the stage can be used if
Stage can be
requested.
used, particularly in this instance. This is a signature community event.
Absolutely, yeah.
Just like it was for Capitol Expo. It was used for Capitol
it was
Expo.
great.
Yeah. Real quick before we ask you a question of the day, or a quick rapid fire question from the guys in the control room. Favorite Taylor Swift song?
Favorite Taylor Swift song? Boy, there are so many now. And I know this just because I listen to her quite a bit with my daughters. I would say it's something off of 1989 is probably my favorite album.
Okay.
Blank Space, maybe something like that.
Yeah. I'm definitely you're not speaking to the choir.
Yeah,
I guess
we need to
with
have
me. I
Brett in here,
I
right?
appreciate Taylor Swift, but I definitely can't name a ton.
Yeah.
Of
Well,
songs,
I have been to a show now.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I've
So
been to
you're
a rain
in.
show.
Yeah. Well, question of the day: fireworks. Do you love them? How do you kind of feel? How do you take in your fireworks?
I love the professional fireworks on the expected days. Let's say July 3rd or July 4th. I don't like the surprise fireworks that I don't know if that's is that fireworks or is it something else?
Yeah, on June 27.
I think
What
what
was that?
I went to a couple of weeks ago. I was at a conference in Columbus, and they did the drone show. And I was with another mayor, and he said, "This is what we're going to do in our city is the drone because they're sensitive to pets,
Right.
And the drone shows. I
And they're
think that's
cool.
what we need to look at. Now I don't know how much they cost.
Yeah.
It's probably super expensive, but they're really cool.
They are very cool.
So I think maybe we'll look into that.
Look into it.
But there will be the traditionalists. We always have to have the fireworks. It's July 4th, and it's America.
Yeah. Well, I want to remind people that our fireworks display here in Frankfort, sponsored, I guess, by the VFW Post 4075 in the city of Frankfort, is going to be Tuesday at 9:30, downtown Frankfort, and they are being named this year after Foxy Tracy. That's in honor of Foxy Tracy, who started the first fireworks tradition in 1958. So, thanks to Foxy for the fireworks display. They're going to be launching the fireworks from Taylor Avenue and 127. They'll be viewable from Riverview Park and downtown, or from a pontoon on the Kentucky River, which is fun and awesome.
Well, Mayor, thanks so much for taking so much time out of your morning and hanging out with us. I know you're busy, and we really appreciate sharing some information for our viewers.
It's always good to be here.
Thank you
Have
so
a good
much.
4th of July weekend, and hopefully see you next month.
Yeah.
All right, you
Hopefully we'll
come
see you
back.
then. Yeah. Hope you have a good holiday weekend.